while they try to unpack that, we have to go into our main conversation of the day. Now, the 69th ordinary session of ECOWAS Authority of Heads of State and Government held in Freetown, Sierra Leone. Regional leaders gathered to deliberate on key political, economic, and security issues affecting West Africa. Now, of course, one of the things that we know that happened is that Senegal's Diomaye Faye has emerged as the new ECOWAS chairman, succeeding Sierra Leone's Madabio. Well, at that particular event, Vice President Kashim Shettima brought up an issue that a lot of us have been worried about, something that we've been looking at and wondering what is going to happen about this. It has happened before, it keeps happening, and some kind of diplomatic solution, but it's never a solution. And I'm talking about the xenophobic attacks on Africans, not just Nigerians, on Africans in South Africa. And the Vice President, Kashim Shettima, made the call. He says he's calling on other African countries to lend their voices to unanimously condemn the ongoing Afrophobic attacks, also known as xenophobia, which is what we call it here, in South Africa. Now, he's also informing the African leaders that the Nigerian government had already evacuated 1,490 of its citizens. So 1,490 Nigerians returned, where we rescued them, really, from South Africa, from harm's way in 7 batches. And we're going to engage further on this particular matter. So tonight, this morning, rather, we have to start the conversation with someone who is joining us from Johannesburg. We have with us Frank Onyekwelu. Frank Onyekwelu is the president, rather, of NICASA. And NICASA stands for the Nigerian Citizens Association in South Africa. Mr. Onyekwelu, thank you so much for being with us on the program.
Thank you so much for having me. Good morning, and good morning to all the viewers.
How are you doing? How are you? How are the other Nigerians that are still there?
I'm doing good. We are all good. We are still here, and we are safe by God's grace.
Are there still, people antagonizing, foreigners, especially, let's focus on Nigerians because we're here. Are there people who are still antagonizing Nigerians in South Africa, to your knowledge? Do your members have more complaints?
Yeah, it's still coming in. The complaints are still coming. The reports are still coming in. We are on daily basis. We are engaging with all our provincial leaders. We have structures in all the provinces of South Africa, in the entire 9 provinces. We have an executive structure looking after Nigerian community in each of these states. So we, on daily basis, stay in touch with all of them. There have been some scanty protests here and there, some matches, as you may be aware. After the June 30th deadline, they further engaged that they will be marching every Thursday and in some areas every Saturday. So they've been doing that, but not as it was on the 30th. So we've been, engaging with the communities, the police, to ensure the safety of our people, the safety of their businesses, and the protection of lives should any violence or altercation or looting starts. So far, we are monitoring the situation, encouraging our people not to engage them violently, not to engage them or, block their way of march. They have their constitutional right to march. But what we are speaking against is attaching looting and violence or vigilantism on that march. They have right to express their dissatisfaction with their government in terms of service delivery, economic or lack of job, but not at the expense of foreign nationals. So far, that is the situation. But some Nigerians that are still here, many of them still have stable jobs, some still have businesses, some family commitments. Not everybody is evacuated. There are still many of us that are here going about our businesses, even though with some fear and anxiety around it, but then we are hoping that the whole tension will continue to die down gradually. The election is coming forth on November, so many of these are politically sensitized. So it's only after the election in November we will now see if we'll have complete calm.
I mean, this is one of the most disappointing stories on the continent, really, and it's a recurring story. The idea, and I'm listening to you talk, the idea that you're going about your business in fear for your lives and your businesses and the losses. You said you're engaging the communities. What kind of engage? What are they saying to you? Because it doesn't seem like they're meeting you anywhere. They're saying leave. So what kind of engagements are you having with the community?
We are still having dialogue that
with who?
Foreigners, with the communities and some of these groups that are marching. Even though they are very adamant, they are fighting for South Africa. They say they are fighting for their jobs, for their well-being. All foreigners must leave their country. They are not missing words with that. However, we are aware of the current meeting going on in AU. We are waiting to hear how this is going to be handled from there. But then, it's difficult. There are some of us there's many Nigerians that have legitimate businesses, family ties, legal work that they are doing, fully employed, with all documentations in right place. It is not easy for them to pack up and leave just at once.
So, Mr. Onyekano, from the government side of things, from law enforcement and from the government of South Africa, do you get the sense that they care about your safety?
From what they say on the television, they announce, but what we see on the local ground is different. The people on the local ground are not obeying the instructions given. So you get attacks here and there, you get violences here and there, looting of shops or businesses, extortion. It's still happening. And one of the reasons why I say so is because we have not seen some credible arrest on some of the people that are pioneering this march and march or attacks on foreign nationals, on businesses. Had it been that 3, 4, 5, 10, 15, 20 people had been arrested and sent behind bars, then there are some that will retrieve and rest. But at the end of the day, that's why I made bold to say that it is politically motivated, because some of them, they are campaigning for votes. Some of them, they are trying to win the heart of the community to vote their party into election as the election is nearing by.
And our Nigerians are the collateral damage when we look at whatever the political ramblings are. So what's the state of commerce? Because I know a lot of our brothers and sisters do business, it's commerce, they love us do in South Africa. And then these lootings. I saw a video online over the weekend where some woman, I don't know what, I think she's from Mozambique. I think they had told her that she should hand over her shop to South Africans, and she started destroying everything in the shop. I could understand how she felt. I'd rather destroy it than give it to you. But so talk to us about some of the losses, the lootings. Is there any conversation about, maybe the government's giving you back some money or for the things that have been stolen from you, from the things that have been destroyed? Is there any kind of conversation about that for the Nigerians who have been looted by these South Africans?
Unfortunately, like you may have noted, many Nigerians left businesses, household properties, years of investment that were left behind. Some of them that are at the target area of these marches and ran for their lives. They are among the group over almost 1,500 that were evacuated. Currently, we are negotiating our consulate office in Johannesburg and our embassy in Pretoria. They've issued a circular to all Nigerians to record and register so that we can have a data of the things, people that lost their businesses or their business were looted. Like about on the 5th of July, a Nigerian mechanic workshop was set ablaze with more than 25 cars burnt. And these are, somebody's livelihood. So we are busy gathering data, and we are hoping that our government will engage with South African government on their diplomatic ties to pursue for compensation, even if it's not in monetary form. Some people, maybe they can start their business all over again. Some people, maybe they can receive opportunity to start over again, or support or encouragement, or maybe to sell whatever they have. Any form of compensation will go a long way for them to restart their life. Many of them who have been repatriated to Nigeria, how do they reintegrate into the system? How do they start up life again? So we are hoping our Senate, our Parliament, our House of Assembly, our government will engage with South African government. Already we have seen some news in the media where the South African, the spokesperson from the presidency is saying that they are not going to do any compensation. If any property bought in South Africa, it remains South African property. It's a property bought with crime money. And we wanted that to be debunked because Nigerians that are here have been painted red by an action of a few, and then you are nationalizing entire country for crime.
All right.
And I stand to say nationality is not criminality. That prejudice or stereotype must stop.
All right, Frank, my colleague in Lagos, Ayo, has a few questions for you. Go ahead, Ayo.
Thank you, Kayla. Mr. Onyekwelu, I really do not envy you, especially because you have to practically speak for all Nigerians in South Africa, and it must be really, really trying. But my question is a bit historical. There was a survey in 1997 that showed that 6% of South Africans were tolerant of immigration, only 6%. And in another survey cited in 2001, we understand that 75% of South Africans held negative perceptions about black African foreigners. And furthermore, we have heard in subsequent years that the issue never really went away. And in your interface with South Africans, can you confirm that this is true? And if it is true, we have been pointing to the president of South Africa. Is there anything the parliament in South Africa are also saying about these issues?
Okay, thank you so much for bringing that. Like you rightly said, it's been a long-standing issue. The statistics cannot lie. The fact that let me say, African migrants in South Africa, their statistics number is quite low in terms of compared to the general South African population statistics. And in this, call it 2.something% in statistics of African migrants, many of them are self-employed. They create their own job. They open their own businesses like salon, hair salon, barbing salon, plumbing job, mechanic job. Only a handful of few are into the professional system, and which I can tell you categorically, it's been dominated by Nigerians. You have many Nigerian doctors in many of the hospitals in South Africa, both government and private. You have many of Nigerian lawyers in all the legal systems across the country. You have Nigerian nurses and midwives, Nigerian students, then businessmen and women in their legit business. And they are doing all these things, contributing to the economy. We do not understand till today why foreign nationals, especially African blacks, are being blamed for this. Now, it may interest you to know the other foreigners, like from the Western world or Europe, are not being blamed. They are not being matched against. So this is a kind of Afrophobia situation, a hate against black, hating black. And that is why we are crying out. Unfortunately, one of the politicians or a party leader in South Africa is also joining to cry out that this is not in order. It's a black against black hate, which is being sponsored by some underground syndicate. However, what we are saying is that Parliament should come out clear. The government of South Africa should make it very boldly clear and handle these diplomatic situations based on economic issue challenges and then service delivery. I think these are the cry of the people. And if our governments, both on South Africa and other African countries, can step up to reach out to the communities they govern and bring service delivery, good governance, developments and infrastructure, I think a lot will be done much, much better for Africans.
What would you say is the current state of affairs now economically in South Africa? There are reports that the exit or exodus of many Nigerians, we understand NEMAC says they have brought back like 1,500 Nigerians already, and a good number of other nationals, Mozambicans, Somalians, have been said to have left the country. We are reading reports that the streets are now quiet. Businesses that supported, nano and micro businesses that supported the economy of South Africans, they have all been shut. No one is coming to the streets are quiet, the markets are shut and all of that. Can you confirm that? What's the current state? How would you say South Africans, not the government, how would you say that South Africans are feeling anything at all? Or do they feel respite? Do they feel relief? Or are they actually feeling the loss of these services that Nigerians and other nationals provided for them?
The truth on the ground is that the reality is now catching up with them. One thing is to march and say foreigners must go. Another thing is to face the consequence and the repercussion of that. Now businesses are going down. Many shops have been closed. It's not affecting even the locals. Over the time, we've had some locals, in some of the suburbs, begging on foreigners, please come back, open your shops, because now they struggle to have some of the goods they buy at ease or at a cheaper rate. They are struggling to get in, and they have to travel miles or go to some supermarkets to purchase these things. And then some of the businesses in the communities, in the city, in the CBD are shut down. So the effect is creeping in now, and it's affecting the economy. There's less flow of cash in the transport department. The buses are empty. You get to the taxi park, a lot of buses are parked because some of these businesses are being patronized by the foreigners that are going to their daily activities. So it's really, it's really bad. It's really bad. I have to say that businesses are down. Many people are struggling to pay their bills because they have been staying indoors, no business, no money coming in. They are living on whatever they've saved. And the ones that have gone back, nobody is replacing their businesses. And this is what we have been complaining. You are chasing some foreigners away from their shop, and you are not coming in to render that service or bring that service delivery to the community. Now the entire community is being affected. People that are going to their work, the other South Africans that are not part of this are now being affected. So it's really the challenge is creeping in, and it's not good at all.
Now, can you say that this is a cross-national situation, or is just some areas of South Africa that are affected by this current situation you're talking about?
It's not a cross-national thing, but you know that the march, they are moving from one province to another. And to any province they moved in, then they begins to exert this kind of situation. And after they've done that, the repercussion takes in. So recently we have seen some state, provincial leaders or mayors or governors, as I can call it, they are now making an announcement. They don't want a march and march group here. They don't want this protest here. They have been living peacefully with their foreign communities, and they don't want somebody coming to stir up agitation or violence or planting division within them. So there have been some resistance from some of them in some provinces. As much as there have been some, skyrocketing of attacks on foreign nationals in some provinces where mostly the locals are dwelling.
One last question from me, Mr. Nyakwelu. We hear that some of the partners in the March and March protests and all of them, that the reality you spoke about just now is dawning on some of them as well, and they are beginning to capitulate. One or two of them are beginning to distance themselves. Who championed the cause are beginning to distance themselves from the consequences of the protests that they championed. Is that something you can confirm?
Yes, it's true. Some of them are now retaliating and speaking to the community that they've seen the repercussion, they've seen the after effect. And the problem is that they've made some of this call, and it's easy to set a house on fire, but it's not easy to quench the fire. Some of the locals are already going with that mentality that the foreign nationals are their problem. They are the reasons they are not getting jobs. They are the reason the economy is going down. They are the reasons that money is not flowing within their communities or locals. They are the reason they are not getting married, because the accusation is many. They are taking their women, they are taking their jobs, they are taking their money, they are everywhere. So now it's difficult to change that mentality that you've already sold to them, even though one or two of them have come in the public media to say, no, we were wrong with what we said, we can coexist, we can co-live, but then the damage is already done. Many bilateral agreements or relations have been stained, and which need to be strengthened on a government-to-government level. But then from community to community level, we still need to engage, have some dialogue. We can coexist, we can co-live together. We can build the African economy, not just South Africa, the entire African economy together by maintaining our commercial business, trade routes and intercontinental business agreements. These are the things we are bringing on the table, that if we can really go that route, but then the truth is that the damage is already done.
All right, well, we do have to wrap up there, Mr. Frank Onyekwelu. Just some comfort, the fact that the Vice President spoke up about this at the 69th Ordinary Session of the ECOWAS Community of West African States Authority of Heads of State and Government meeting, which happened in Freetown, where he represented President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He's calling for all African countries to come together and raise their voices against this Afrophobia. And I did hear you when you talked about the spokesperson of the president and what he's saying about compensation for the lootings that have happened to Nigerians, and I'm sure he heard that. I want to be clear, you're referring to Mr. Demola Oshodi, I think, right?
No, I'm talking about of the South African person.
Oh, you're talking about the South African person. All right, all right. But then, of course,
they're not going to compensate at all.
So the South African government said they're not going to compensate at all. I see. Okay. So that's something that Mr. Demola Oshodi and everyone who's concerned in this matter, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, all of these agencies really have to now look into that bit of it, because that's the next step. But we do have to thank you so much, Mr. Frank Onyekwelu, President of the Nigeria Citizens Association in South Africa. Thanks again, and please stay safe.
Thank you so much. I will try my best. And please, may I use the opportunity to thank the government of Nigeria for their intervention in the evacuation, and also continue to plead for the good citizens. There are still many people here that wants to maybe come back. If there is opportunity for individuals or some NGOs to help, please reach out to us. We still have received calls of many people that wants to come back. As much as we are thanking our government, we continue to pray for safety and the dignity, safety of all Nigerians residents in South Africa, and praying that government to government will reach a conclusion not to nationalize crime. Nigerians are contributing and they are law-abiding here in South Africa. Thank you so much for having me this morning.
And our greetings to all of our brothers and sisters in South Africa.
They were here. Thank you.
All right, we're going to a short break. When we come back, we'll be shifting gears. We've got a guest in the Lagos studio who is not very happy about the concept of reforming the NYSC. We'll find out what he means. And then, of course, talking about the Chief of Staff to the President, Mr. Femi Gbajabiamila, and the PFPIC saga. All that coming up after this break, so please stay with us. We'll be right back.